Welcome to Superintendent Radio Network. I'm Golf Course Industry Magazine Editor-in-Chief Guy Cipriano, and we're excited to bring you episode number 21 of the Disease Discussion Podcast. Joining us are two of our regular and favorite guests, BASF Senior Technical Specialist Dr. Emma Lookabaugh and Kyle Miller. We're going to chat with Emma and Kyle about the newest member of BASF's Intrinsic brand fungicide lineup, Aramax Intrinsic brand fungicide. Before we get into the conversation, let's reveal a few initial details about Aramax Intrinsic brand fungicide. Want your course to be considered among the greatest of all turf? Then you need a fungicide that's a fairway MVP. Introducing Aramax Intrinsic brand fungicide. This new disease-fighting powerhouse features an advanced broad-spectrum formulation that controls 26 tough turf diseases like snow mold, large patch, brown patch, and dollar spot. All with the superior plant health benefits of Intrinsic brand fungicides. Take your course to the max with the new Aramax Intrinsic brand fungicide from BASF. Visit betterturf.basf.us to learn more. Now on to our conversation with Emma and Kyle. Well, Emma and Kyle, thanks for joining the podcast. It's always fun and informative to chat with the both of you. And Emma, let's start with a human question before we get into the technical parts of this podcast. What's going through your mind when you're preparing to introduce a new product to existing and potential customers?
So for me, it really is excitement. So there's always a great buzz when we're preparing to launch a new product. And with this one, we've been working on this product for years. And so we're so excited to finally be bringing it over to the golf market. But one of my favorite things about launching products is really figuring out how they can fit in and also enhance our current product portfolio. And so this one's been really fun because we've actually identified a few areas like snow mold and large patch where Aramax can really deliver added value to our existing lineup. Kyle, what do you think? How are you feeling?
First and foremost for me probably is, what problem is it going to solve for superintendents? And Emma, you just sort of identified those because we know that this product's very effective on some key diseases. And then secondly, and you mentioned this too, is to make sure that the superintendent understands where the product will fit in their spray program. Because as you well know, there are many, many fungicides out there. BASF has a lot of good fungicides. And so we need to be very clear about how and where they can use this in their spray program.
Kyle, approximately how many launches have you been through during your 3+ decades with BASF? I'm sure it's a lot. And what makes this launch different than some of the others?
It is a lot. I don't know that I can count them all, but it's probably upwards of 30 or more product launches, believe it or not, Guy. And this one, I think the uniqueness here is of Aramax is because it brings a solid foundational snow mold option that has been time tested as a tank mix. And, when I looked at my notes, I noticed that we started looking at this product for snow mold control more than a dozen years ago.
Wow, that is a long time. And Kyle, how much R&D work is executed on a solution like Aramax just to reach the point where we're discussing it on a podcast? And 12 years is a long time. Just how much work goes into it?
Well, as you can imagine, a lot of field work by our field biologists. But, this product is probably not a whole lot different than any other product that we bring to market. But most importantly, we want to make sure that geographically it's been tested throughout the U.S. on the target pests, that we're going after, and that it will meet the expectations that we know that our superintendents want of a product.
Emma, all of our listeners have heard of the Intrinsic brand fungicide portfolio, right? But what makes Aramax different than the other fungicides in the portfolio?
So for starters, this really is a fairway-focused product. So Lexicon Intrinsic and Navicon Intrinsic, they really are our superior green solutions. And what we needed was a foundational fairway solution. And that's really what Aramax is. Aramax is built with two powerful active ingredients. So it's pyraclostrobin and triticloconazole. So having those dual actives really gives you the broadest disease spectrum, but it also gives you long-lasting residual control. Plus, having that pyraclostrobin on board does bring those intrinsic plant health benefits to fairways. It's highly effective on all of the most important fairway diseases. And what is really exciting for me is that it's actually strong enough to serve as your foundation of protection for your fairways. So I'm really excited for Aramax. And I think what's different about this one than maybe some of our other Intrinsic brand portfolio is that this was a combination that superintendents asked for. They were making this tank mix in the field, telling us how great it was. And finally, we listened and we brought that to the market in a premix solution.
Kyle, let's back up a bit. You get to hear a lot of feedback from customers and distributor reps. What type of impact do you feel the Intrinsic brand fungicide portfolio has made on the golf market?
Very significant, Guy. I really feel like superintendents know and trust the Intrinsic name to deliver not only great disease control, but improved turf health under very difficult conditions, regardless of the situation, whether it's mechanical stress, environmental stress. During aerification, our superintendents are using it to enhance fill-in of aerification holes. During the summer months or leading up to the summer months, they're using the product to get thicker, denser roots that can tolerate the stresses from the summer. And you're well aware of our holiday spray program for both greens and for fairways, where we incorporate these Intrinsic brand products during those stressful times of the year, before the stress, during the stress, after the stress. And these products have just fit in so nicely. Superintendents have come to trust these products that they're going to deliver what we said they would deliver.
Emma, how exciting is it to carry on the legacy of this portfolio?
I'm really excited about this. With Aramax, I love everything about this product. It's simple, but it's effective. It doesn't take any fancy positioning or real storytelling to understand how you're going to use Aramax, when you're going to use it, where you're going to use it. And I really like that simplicity that this product brings. If we want to get really specific about what I'm most excited about with Aramax, I'm probably most excited to finally have a really solid fairway large patch product. So Aramax delivers. It's a reliable preventative. If you put it out in the fall, it's going to provide a full 28 days of protection when you need it to last. And then it's also a great cleanup application if you let your preventative apps kind of slip and, you get behind it a little bit. So when it comes to fairways, reliability is really important. You don't need sexy, you need reliable. And I think that's what Aramax is going to be for a lot of people.
One of the tricky things about a podcast is that we can't put maps or graphics on a screen. So Kyle, let's try to visualize this for the listeners. What parts of the country and where on a golf course do you see Aramax being an effective disease control option for superintendents? Give us a verbal visualization of this.
How about everywhere?
That's simple.
Yeah, that is pretty simple because, there's a great fit on cool season turf, transition turf, southern turf. Because of the spectrum of diseases that we control, we talk about snow mole, we talk about using it as a fairway application on cool season turf. We talk about using it as a fairway application on warm season turf. So really, I think there's just a great opportunity all across the country for superintendents to take a look at this product.
And when we drill down into the micro level, the golf course, you're really thinking fairways with this, right?
Yeah, definitely fairways as a rule, except now during snow mole season, the applications can be made to greens, tees, or fairways. So we've got more flexibility there with how it can be used.
Kyle, BASF has an amazing portfolio that has helped golf courses for a long time. But one thing it did not have until Aramax was a snow mold control option. What does it mean for the BASF team to introduce a snow mold control option to the golf market?
It's super exciting. We have talked about this a long time. We used to try to, offer up the two products as solo products and get superintendents to tank mix it. But having it very convenient in one jug makes it so much easier for a superintendent. The other nice thing, Guy, that I really like about this product is it's one size fits all. The rate for this product is 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet, regardless of what the disease is, regardless of how long you want the product to last, the residual. So very easy from that standpoint. But like I said, we feel like we've got a great buildable snow mold product in Aramax.
How has Aramax fared in snow mold control trials, and how will it fit into an overall snow mold control program, Kyle?
Yeah, well, like I said, we've been testing it as a tank mix for many, many years. And in several years, I remember seeing this product being at the top of the heap when it came to snow mold control. So I've got all the confidence in the world that this is going to be a solid product for superintendents out there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just real pleased with what we've seen so far in the field, and we've got a lot of years of data to pull from.
And one last thing, Kyle, before we go back to Emma. Kyle, where does Aramax fit into a cool season disease control program for diseases other than snow mold?
I see that it's got a great fit as a broad spectrum fairway spray in the spring prior to that summer stress. We see superintendents wanting to use it to control dollar spot and patch diseases like summer patch and brown patch and take-all patch as they go into the heat of the summer. And the plant health benefits it delivers will provide protection from stress during those summer months. So I think it's got a great fit. We know how effective Insignia is as a fungicide on fairways. Basically, what you're doing is you're just piling on, better and better disease control with Aramax.
Before we get back to our conversation with Emma and Kyle, another word from the disease discussion sponsor. Turf that's second best isn't good enough. Your goal is to be the GOAT, the greatest of all turf. Intrinsic brand fungicides from BASF don't meet the bar, they raise it. Take the health of your turf to the next level with superior disease control, increased growth efficiency, and enhanced stress tolerance. These foundational fungicides are formulated to deliver superior plant health benefits that set the gold standard in the golf course industry, with the science to back it up. Refuse to settle for good enough. Strive for greatness with the power of Intrinsic brand fungicides. Visit betterturf.basf.us to learn more. Now back to our conversation with Emma and Kyle. Okay, Emma, and let's talk worm season disease control now. Where do you see Aramax fitting into a worm season disease control program?
So Aramax makes a great foundation for large patch preventive programs. So 2 fall applications will really serve as the backbone of the spray program. And then we compare it with complementary products like exemplar fungicides for, large patch, but also dollar spot, microdochium patch, and even leaf spot diseases. Aramax also makes a great utility tool whenever diseases are already active. So in the spring, it makes a great cleanup application, especially because it has those intrinsic plant health benefits. So they're going to help that warm season turf grass recover faster from any of the winter stresses and winter injury, but also any diseases that start flaring up as your temperatures start ramping up in the spring. So really, it's that foundational program is kind of how we're positioning it in warm season turf.
Emma, what type of issue is large patch on zoysia grass, and where does Aramax fit into a large patch control program on that turf species?
So I kind of already mentioned it a little bit, but, large patch is probably the biggest disease issue on zoysia, and pretty much anyone that's growing zoysia is going to battle large patch at one point during the year. So in most areas, 2 well-timed fall applications are going to provide excellent control. So you're going to trigger those applications when your soil temps are consistently about 70 degrees, and you're going to make 2 apps 28 days apart. In some parts of the country, spring applications are really important when it comes to managing large patch. So you can also use Aramax in the spring. You'd trigger that app somewhere around, once your soil temperatures start creeping back up around 55 to 60 degrees or about 50% green up. So yeah, for zoysia, Aramax really is going to be a foundational application to prevent large patch.
Emma, one other thing, where does Aramax fit into a seashore paspalum disease control program, and how nice is it to offer a solution for superintendents that are working with that turf species?
So I'm really excited about Aramax for seashore paspalum because, one, we already have to deal with large patch on that turf type, but also seashore gets so much dollar spot. Like most of the areas where we're growing seashore paspalum, it's just perfect petri dish for dollar spot. And so that's really where you're going to see Aramax shine over some of the competitive products because it's going to deliver 28 days of dollar spot protection as well. And so I feel like that's a good strength of Aramax in your seashore programs. But again, it's going to be those fall applications and then continuing that window as long as, disease is favorable. So down south in South Florida, that may be every 28 days in the fall or whenever you have, dollar spot pressure or large track pressure.
Kyle, what type of tank mixing capabilities does Aramax have?
Well, we work closely with our formulations folks to identify all the possible products that a superintendent may want to tank mix with Aramax. So we've looked at PGRs, we've looked at fertility products, we've looked at insecticides, and because we've been testing this product for a number of years, just the tank mix, we've already got a pretty good handle on the fact that we really haven't had any issues out in the field and that superintendents have had a lot of flexibility in what they can tank mix with this product.
Kyle, what are you expecting, and hoping to learn about Aramax over the next year once it gets into the hands of golf course superintendents?
I guess the first thing that comes to mind, Guy, is you just want your product to meet superintendents' expectations. So we want to make sure that it's performing at the level, that we have seen out in the field. We also want to, build awareness for the product. I think the other thing too is that, after this product, we need to go to the next solution that superintendents, may want to have. So that never stops. But I think we just want to make sure that, like I said, it is meeting their expectations.
And how about you, Emma? What are you expecting, hoping, and looking to learn about Aramax over the next 12 months?
So yeah, I pretty much will echo what Kyle says, but I think we're also going to fine tune some of our recommendations, particularly where we're positioning it, timing, because I expect as more people start using it, we're going to figure out new little niches where the product has good utility. Superintendents really push the envelope, and they're usually the ones that figure out the best way to use a product. So I think we'll learn a little bit from them as they start using it and what they're having success with. About how they want to use the product and how we can kind of optimize those recommendations moving forward. But yeah, it never stops. We always kind of, after we launch a product, the next couple of years is still sort of launch mode and learning from that launch. So I expect that's where we'll be.
Well, we were going to revert right back to the human side of this. And Emma, you sort of stole the answer to the next question, but I'll ask it anyway to see if you have anything adding to it. What happens to somebody on the technical team once a new product goes into the field? Do you go on vacation? I'm guessing not. It's really only the start of the work, right?
Yeah, so like Kyle said, it never stops. We're always out there thinking of the next thing. But a big part of what we do on the technical team is try to figure out how all of those next things fit in with what we already have, right? So at BASF, we really are fortunate to only bring high quality products to the market. We have a really rigorous vetting process, but really that makes our job on the technical team a lot easier because we're confident that these products are going to perform without any compromises. And I think that's why people trust BASF because, all of that trust is really built on rock solid performance. When we bring a fungicide to the market or any product to the market, I think superintendents know that we vetted it, it's going to perform, and it's going to do what we tell them it's going to do. They don't have to worry about expectations. So yeah, it never stops. We're always thinking about the next thing and what we can do, and it just goes on and on.
Yeah, and last thing, Kyle, it takes a ton of work by a ton of people and a lot of collaboration to get a product into the hands of golf course superintendents. How rewarding is it to do something like you're doing right now with Aramax?
I think most importantly, as you know, I've been with the company for a long time, and I think what feels so good is I know that when we bring a product to the market, it's a top shelf product. And that makes me feel good that we are introducing products that we know are going to perform at a high level, and they're going to deliver, and meet the expectations of the superintendent. So that really, really feels good. And the other thing too is, as you might expect, we've got a laundry list of niches to fill out there in the turf industry as far as what other products that we need to control a weed or a disease or an insect or whatever it might be. So we're always searching for that product, and that's never going to stop. And that's what makes it fun too. So,
well, Emma and Kyle, it was a joy to speak with you. Based on your last answer, Kyle, it sounds like we'll be talking again at some point about another solution coming out. We really appreciate the time, and thanks for what both of you do to help golf course superintendents and their teams. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Guy.